Hello, everyone. It'd be good if I could speak, wouldn't it? Let me slow that down. Hello, everyone, and welcome to episode 11 of Positively Board Gaming. I'm the smooth-talking Mitchell Whitfield, joined by the delightfully smooth and equally talented Jamey Stegmeyer. Jamey, give a big hey to all of our listeners out there.
Hey, Mitchell. Good to see you. Good to be
Good to see
actually
you.
for viewers. They don't realize that we're back, but
Yes.
we because this will come out week to week. But we did have a little bit of a break last week because of a series of events that have happened. A quick recap. We don't have to go deep into it.
No, go for it.
But
Absolutely.
we had St. Louis got hit by a tornado.
Yes.
I didn't have power or internet I didn't have power for 3 days. Didn't have internet for a week. I came back like right after we would have recorded last week.
Right.
And then a few days ago, I got hacked again. And so that was problematic. But we're here today. And I feel like I'm on the other side of all that. And it is just wonderful to be here to hang out with you for the next 30 minutes to chat about things that we love.
You know what? I love that. And I was thinking about you, and it's so funny. Not funny, not funny, but we don't realize how digitally reliant we've all become until something like this, something like the multitude of things that you mentioned, of course, the hacking, which of course, aside from the inconvenience, and it's a huge invasion of privacy, and just, it hits you in a way that, you wouldn't think something like that would hit you, but it does. It's a huge thing. And then you talk about not having access to the internet, and everyone, all the old timers out there, and myself included in that group, are like, hey, you kids should be fine without your interwebs. Just grab a stick and bang it on something, play in your house. But we rely so much on us, we rely on it so much for work and for communication. So I'm glad. You know what? We're on the other side of it. Let's talk about something delightful, like a treat of the day. Doesn't have to be a sweet treat, but just a treat of the day, Jamey. What do you have? Brighten this up, right? Let's get past all that.
I do have a treat of the day today.
Right.
That is sweet. Megan's brother and her sister-in-law, Eric and Alex, two delightful people, went to Iceland for the last 2 weeks. They got back a few days ago, and they brought back a bunch of treats they got in Iceland. And so the one that I haven't opened yet is a Kit Kat. Kit Kats are fun to get in other countries. Ooh. This is for those who are listening and can't see this, this is a Biscoff chunky Kit Kat. You can see it's a pretty chunky Kit Kat.
Does it have the cinnamon? Does it have the cinnamon on the outside like a Biscoff cookie does?
As far as I know, I haven't eaten it yet, but I think that's the idea behind this. And so I'm just excited to give it a try. It's a white chocolate Biscoff Kit Kat that I'm really excited to dig into.
And by the way,
I think you would like it.
Oh, you please, I would. You had me at Kit Kat, and you showed him. I'm going to eat the thing. A little bit of geographical history for you here. Iceland is actually lovely. Greenland's the one with bad weather. They were named that way to keep people away back years ago when they were first, populated. But yes, my dad's been to Iceland. He said it's gorgeous there. I'm sure it must have been amazing.
The photos they shared were, in fact, like I was amazed by these beautiful waterfall photos that they showed. Right. And when I asked them about it, they were like, "Oh yeah, like it was so ordinary for them to see a stunning waterfall that it was no longer special by the end of the trip."
Oh, it's like, oh, that's nothing. That angel that came down from the sky, we've seen a dozen of them. That's amazing. But you get jaded when you're around so much beauty, and then you show it to someone that isn't surrounded by that type of beauty on a daily basis. You're like, oh my God, just see the other 1,000 pictures, then you'll see really something special, right? But that's beautiful. What a great trip to take.
So this came from thousands of miles away. How far away did your treat of the day come to serve you today?
My treat of the day. Okay, so I don't know if you're aware of this, Jamey, but I steal from you. And when I steal, I mean I celebrate you. I flatter you through copying. That's another way of saying stealing. So, sometimes I'll do a sweet treat. Other times, like you have done in the past, and I was like, oh, Jamey's really smart. I'll do that too. We talk about an experience or something that's yet to come. My treat of the day is yet to come. So Friday is usually date night for Tracy and myself. Tracy and I go out on a date night. We go out on other nights as well, but Friday is like our standing date at a restaurant called Los Agaves, Mexican restaurant in our neighborhood, which is amazing. And they have something there called molcajete. Molcajete, basically, technically, I guess it's considered like a salsa, like a hot Mexican salsa, but it's more of a stew. And you can do this stew, and it comes in a volcanic rock bowl, the kind that stays boiling hot for the entire meal. The thing is boiling for the entire meal, so I have to wear like a bib from my neck to my shins because it's popping and boiling and I'm eating, trying not to get burned, but I can't stop eating. It's so good. And there's shrimp in there and fresh fish. You can get it with chicken, beef, vegetables. It's amazing. So that will be my treat of the day. But the other treat of the day is also getting to have date night with my wife because we love it. We don't have to do much. We go to, Los Agaves, and we'll go to Target and go, we've had the best night ever. Thank you. Being 60 years old really hit hard, as I've always said. But yeah, so my treat of the day is yet to come. And just by the way, going back to that Kit Kat, for those of you who don't know, when you get, it's easy to say, oh, it's just a Kit Kat. You got it with a different, language on it. That's what's the big deal. But you have to understand that every country has different regulations, different ways that they prepare things, different types of chocolate. So whenever you go somewhere else, the way they make chocolate and the way that it could be complete, and usually it is completely different, usually a lot richer. So I can only see Jamey from the torso up, but I'm trying to peek down the camera and see if I can see that chocolate bar again. It looks so darn. Oh, there we go. You chocolate tease you. Before we get started, do you have a before we get started?
I have my before we get started was kind of the disasters and how I'm on the other side of it. So I'm curious.
Okay.
Yeah, do you have a different one? Yeah.
Yeah, just a real quickie. So, I'm trying to get more. We talked about this in the past. Today is going to be all about games for me, talking about games. Shocking on Positively Board Gaming Podcast, right? So I'd heard so much about Dixit for so long.
Yeah.
What a beautiful game it is, how accessible it is. And it's I never played it before. Finally got it to the table because we have another family I think I've told you about that comes over and has game night with us. And there could be up to 8 of us. Okay. So this time there were 6. And they're new to the hobby game. So I'm trying to ease them in with stuff that's, more family friendly. And I thought, Dixit, I've never played. This will be a great opportunity for me to play. What a beautiful, lovely game. Yeah. So and if you've never seen it, everyone gets these 6 cards, and each card almost has like a portrait on it, like a painting, describing us, and you have these different scenes on here, beautiful, like artistic prints almost on each card. And whoever's turn it is, you pick a card out of your hand of 6 cards, and you decide, okay, I'm going to take this card and I'm going to describe it in a short way, either through a sound or song or a quote, or just say what I think this represents to me. And then everyone looks in their hand and picks the card that best represents what that person just said. And everyone puts their card out. You try and find out who the actual original card was. Right. It's very simple, accessible. Yeah. Can I tell you something? It's freaking hard. I was very surprised. And no, don't get me wrong. It's amazing. And I would gladly play this anytime, but it was much more difficult because you think, okay, but the idea is they're very clever with the rules on this, because you get no points as the person whose turn it is. If everyone guesses your card, you get no points.
Right.
So you can't be too on the money in your description or whatever you decide to describe, however you describe it. You can't be too vague either, because if nobody guesses, you also get no points. So the idea is to make sure at least one person guesses it and everyone else guesses some. That mechanism in itself is brilliant, but also really hard. Because all the things you think of is and then somebody will put down a card that it better describes what I said than my own card did. I'm like, how did they get that? So I played Dixit for the first time. Great game, but much more thinky. And I'm going to approach the game differently next time I play. It's definitely more complex. Did you find that it's easy on the surface, but wow, how do we find that balance of making sure not everyone misses it and not everyone gets it? It's hard, right?
It is hard. And I think I've talked about Mysterium and Mysterium Park a few times. Those are the ones that I think of that they would not exist. Those are some of my favorite games. They wouldn't exist without Dixit.
Right.
Very similar vibe, similar look as well. They're more my go-to now than Dixit, but I love that you had a great time with it. And it's been a while since I played. I need to bring it back to the table because it is a really fun game.
Well, and it also made me pick up for next time. Just One and So Clover. So those are the ones we're going to be introducing. One of those next week or whenever we get together in a couple of weeks. So because I was babbling on, as you know, it's so shocking that I would be a babbler on our podcast. It's weird, right? Jamey, would you like to start us off? Because we picked 2 topics. Neither of us knows what the other one is going to talk about. We haven't had crossover yet. I don't think we will today either. Jamey, what do you have?
Today, I'm positive that we won't have a crossover today because my topic is about the topic that I was going to do last week, which was about Geekway to the West, the convention that I attended the previous weekend. This is around a 3,000 person convention in St. Louis, and it's primarily a just come and play games for 4 days with friends, strangers, family, whoever. It's very family friendly, very welcoming, incredibly inclusive. Just 3,000 wonderful people getting together to play games. And just in general, I had an amazing time. Meeting a lot of people for the first time, playing some games with people that I only see at Geekway, also playing some games with some friends. Like I invited my best friend, the friend that I've known my entire life. I invited him and his son to join for the first time. His son is around 11. He's gotten really into games. And I think they had a blast. And I wanted to highlight like a few of my favorite games that I played there, including one that I think you would really enjoy, and maybe
Okay.
you've already played it. Well, you'll have to let me know if you've already played
Sure.
it. And then my general topic that I'll maybe talk about after I mention the games is my love and appreciation for people who are willing to take the time to teach games to other people, because that was I learned 15 different games at Geekway, and all of them, every single one of them, was thanks to someone who was willing to take the time
Wow.
to teach a game that they already knew, or learn a game just to teach it, or even sometimes specifically to teach it to me because they knew I was going there to learn more games. And so
Wow.
we'll talk about that in a second.
Oh, sure,
But
sure,
the games,
sure.
real quick,
That's a lot
were
of new games, by the way. That's a lot of new games in a very short. You be there for 3
oh yeah,
days?
I was there for essentially 3 total days,
That's like
and
5 new games a
yeah,
day. That's crazy. Okay, go ahead. Sorry, I didn't mean to
5 new
interrupt.
games a day, and I taught and played around 10 other ones that I already knew.
Oh
So I was
my
trying to spread
god.
the love a little bit myself. But some of my favorites, Noon Attack, which was a set collection game combined with a set, like a temple building element with
Oh,
other
wow, okay.
players, that I thought was really cool. Rajas of the Ganges, the card game. This is a game that I
Okay.
love. It's for those who know Arc Nova, Arc Nova has 2 different victory point tracks that kind of like intersect. Rajas was the first game to do that I'm aware of, and
Okay.
Rajas, the card game, does that in a really cool way that caught me off guard. I was really surprised by that. And then the game that I thought of you specifically, have you played Panda Royale?
No, but it's in a purple
Okay,
box, right?
it's in a
Is it
purple
not?
box.
I
Yeah.
have it, but I have
Okay.
not played it yet.
I think I hope you get the chance to open it, especially at this 8-person game night that you play at.
Oh,
We
wow,
played
it
it
plays
with
that
10
high?
people,
Oh,
and
wow,
it's
okay.
just it's one of these games that ramps up, and by the end of the game you're rolling a big handful of dice
Oh, I love
and
that.
scoring a bunch of points from them. And at the beginning of the game you're rolling like 1 die or 2 dice. It ramps
Okay.
up in a nice way, but it is just it's it was silly fun. There's a lot of luck with the rolling of the dice, but yeah, I think you'll have a lot of fun with it, and I would recommend it to people who are looking for that game that scales well up to higher groups and is very easy to teach thanks to that ramping mechanism.
I think you were thinking of me probably because I've talked about zombie dice so many times as being a very welcoming
Yes,
game.
yeah,
But yeah, oh, I would love to. And I actually have this game. I'm so excited. I can
that's
go in my
perfect.
garage and pull it out and go play it tomorrow.
I could even teach it to you if you want. I think I
I'd
can still
love
remember the
that.
rules. Yeah.
I'd love that.
Um, but yeah, then my general topic is just like I said, people who are willing to teach games. That it's just incredible to me that people would spend their time doing that, especially at a convention where everyone's trying to play the new hot thing or learn something new. So I wanted to hear your thoughts on that. Like maybe is there someone in your life who has recently taught you? I know you often do this for other people, but is there
Yeah.
someone else who has taught you a game recently that you really appreciate?
Well, yes.
Yeah.
So when we have, and I'm going to get to, because I actually, it's dwarfed next to your 15, but I played actually 3 new to me games this week, 2 specifically on game nights with my buddies, Jack and Eric. Um, Jack usually what we will do is, and we should probably do it differently. I mean, sometimes we'll give a little heads up and say, hey, thinking of playing blah, blah, blah tonight. Let's everyone maybe go on and either watch Rodney Smith or read something or watch a video, watch some gameplay. And then when we sit down and do the rules, we'll be okay. We'll have a reference point for that. And we'll just be blind, open the box. Okay, how do we do this? We tend to open the box and go, hey, how do we do this? That's what we tend to actually do. And it works out well. And Jack is usually the one that teaches the game. He's really good. And I think part of what makes him so good at it is, and again, this is not even teaching a game that he knows. This is what's so impressive. He's able to absorb so quickly what he's reading and then spout it out in a way that we can understand. So that skill set for being him not knowing the game either, that's a totally different skill set that we're talking
Yeah.
about. And then
Yeah.
being able to say, okay, he's a really smart guy. Both Jack and Eric are very smart and absorbed, got it. Now I can communicate this to them. But going back just generally to the joy of teaching a game to someone, because for me,
Yeah.
it's a joyful experience. To me, it's taking something that I love
Mhm.
and wanting to share that with other people in the best way that I know how. It's like, hey, I think you're going to like this. Let me see what you think. Let me give you like the elevator pitch of what the game is. And then, because that's always how it starts. Quick elevator pitch. How would you describe this game? And then from there, we get into the details and the how-tos and everything. And I think it's one of the purest forms of joy there is in the hobby, having something that you
Mhm.
love and wanting. And again, you have to sort of know the room. You have to know
Yeah.
your audience, which I always say, which is you're not going to force a game on someone that you, first of all, might not be ready for that level of game in terms of complexity, may not be a
Right.
theme that they either relate to or want to relate to. So you have to sort of know the room. But I get such tremendous joy out of that. I feel
Yeah.
like, again, that's the way that we give back. That's the way that
Yeah,
we give back in this hobby, because we all have people in our lives that have done that for us. I'm sure you've done that a bunch of times with not just your games, obviously, but with games that you love in general. So yeah, it's a way of giving back and sort of like paying back this entire hobby for all the joy that it's given me. So I think that's amazing. And I'm always appreciative when people are willing to. And if you notice, it's never really a burden. Their eyes light up. Oh,
yeah,
you want to learn this game? It's always approached, but oh my God, I can't wait to show you this. Not like, okay, pick up the cards. I'll tell you what to do. It's
yeah,
always, there always is. Did you find that too? The people that were teaching you were
yeah.
genuinely excited to be doing so, correct?
They were, and I did try to. I try when I put it out there, the games that I'm hoping to play Geekway. I try to say along with that, I want to play games that either you are also curious about or that you already love. Like I don't want to burden anyone with that. And so I think there's some self-selection there that people have chosen a game that they are really excited to share with others, and that excitement carries over to me as well. I'm even more excited because they're excited about it.
I love that. I am a little hurt, Jamie, because one of the things we talked about multiple times was I'd hope you learned to play my ninja game, Night of the Ninja.
I know it
And
didn't
no, that's
happen.
right. You put your head
Yeah.
down. That's right. That's the right response, Jamie. No, put your head down. Feel shame. No, at some point you definitely have to try that. But again, it has to
Yeah.
be somebody has to have it. It has to be the right group. It has to be a bigger group. But
Right.
I'm so excited for you. I'm a little gel. But you know, I can't be. I'm not super. Obviously, I'm not really jealous. But it sort of actually ties in nicely for what I was going to talk about, which is actually new to me games, which and the idea of like
Yes.
getting
Yeah.
multiple new to me games to the table,
Yeah.
especially like we talked about, you know, if you've done enough Kickstarters or enough crowdfunding in general, you realize that sometimes the input is coming faster than you're able to actually get them to the table. So I'm making an effort to play more games and sort of take a little pause on our campaign games, because we just finished Descent
Yeah.
Legends of the Dark. And now we're doing the second one, the purple. I know by box color. Oh, Panda, that's a purple box. Well, the Descent second one is also a purple box. I forgot what it's called. But before we started that, I said, "Hey guys, let's let's jump in and try something." Oh, did I step on you? Are you good, or do you want me to? I
No,
was
this
like
is a perfect
segueing in.
transition. I'm very
Okay,
curious about the
okay,
three
okay,
games. Yeah. What?
okay.
Yeah. What?
So the first one was Dixit. We already talked about
Okay,
Dixit.
that was the first one.
That was
Okay.
one.
Mhm.
The next one is such an interesting thing to me. Have you ever played Comic Hunters?
I've heard about it, but no, I haven't played it.
Okay, you have to try Comic Hunters. So basically, I would say to people that don't know the game, if you like Seven Wonders
Yeah.
and you like set collecting, a little bit of card drafting, card passing, if you like that, and you're a Marvel / comic book fan, this will be your jam 1000%. Because I love Seven Wonders, but this takes it to another level. If you are basically you're a group of people collecting comics.
Mhm.
And the funny part of this is, Jamie, this is interesting from both a designer and publisher standpoint. I'd love to hear what you think about this. This originally was released only in Brazil.
Yes.
Brazilian publisher and designer,
Mhm.
and it was only released there. And I thought to myself, wow, that's super cool. Number one. Number two, I thought, hey, they have the Marvel license. That can't be cheap. And if you're trying to recoup your money from that, to only have it released in, now granted, Brazil is huge, of course,
Right.
but to only have it in one country, in one language, in Portuguese, and people were importing it and translating it themselves, because once you have the rules translated, I don't think that mostly it's the iconology on the cards, which is universal, right? So that wasn't the issue.
Right.
Um, and I remember people were saying, "Oh, you got to get a copy of this game." And then Dice Tower said, "Hold off," because I think they were trying to bring it in as an essential. But I think
Okay.
Spin Master ended up publishing it and bringing it to everyone. But how does that work, Jamie? In general, if you're doing a licensing, because you've obviously had to do it with a
Mhm.
very big IP as well, was there a payment up front, or was it just a cut of the game? I'm only asking because it can be cost prohibitive to a smaller publisher that's only releasing in one country to have to recoup that money unless it's just a piece of the game.
Right. Yeah. Typically, it's done via a royalty deal. Like when
Okay.
we license a game to a localization partner, they pay us. We are paying. Well, it works in different ways, but we pay for the manufacturing cost of the game. We handle production, so it's all at one place. Everything's consistent,
Right.
and they are paying us. They pay us like 50% up front, and they pay us 50% in the back end. So we, in this case, are the ones receiving the
Right.
royalty just
Right.
to cover the cost, and then a little bit on top of that. And then
Okay.
they go and sell the game in the variety of ways that they sell the game.
Okay. Well, I'm very happy that this game made it to a larger market with the
Yeah.
English rules, and that this game, And it's only up to 4 people, so it is
Mhm.
limiting in terms of the number of people that play. And basically, you are collecting comics in different ways. You're doing your set collection there's like a 3-round system, and each round you're collecting in different ways in different orders. There are 4 different ways to collect comics. I think one of them is getting them at a convention,
Mhm.
doing auctions online, going to your friendly local comic store. What's the 4th one? And they each have slightly different mechanisms, how you're actually going to be getting the comics. One's through bidding. One's through almost like, remember the slide puzzles that had like 9 spots with 8 numbers? You'd have to flick and slide the numbers to get the picture to
Oh
line up.
yeah.
There's a slide puzzle mechanism. That's
Oh
one of
really?
it's so cool. So yeah, there are different ways to collect. And and the other thing is I was able to, and again, we always talk about, buying from publishers, buying from the game store. It's actually on Amazon right now for $13 and change, which blows my mind.
Oh wow.
It's already reasonably priced at $30, but Amazon for some reason had like this
13?
$13, maybe $13.97, closer to 14. But I told everyone, I was like, you've got to get a copy of this game. It's so
Yeah.
good, especially at this price. But it was so much fun, and I'm so happy I played. And I think that's going to be one. The disadvantage, obviously, the advantage of Seven Wonders is you can have a larger group playing it. This one is limited, but if I had a smaller group, I already had, my buddy Jack saying, hey, if you're coming to game night this week, you got to bring those 2 games. I'm about to tell you what the second one is. So that
That
was
is really
comic.
cool.
That was comic. Yeah.
Everything you said makes me want to play it even more. And
Oh,
the thing that comes to mind a little bit is people love, there's a game called Modern Art that a lot of people love. I've played it.
yes.
I've enjoyed it. It's an auction game where you do a bunch of different types of auctions.
Okay.
And I've heard this game compared to it with what this game does for drafting, because it uses both private and public drafting methods.
Yep.
And so I think if anyone listening already loves Modern Art, I think that's a fairly well-known game. I think this is one that they might also enjoy.
I agree. And I didn't even talk about the aesthetic because all the cards are comic book covers.
Yeah, they're real comic book
Like
covers.
the real comic book covers from like the last 40 or 50 years. So
Yeah.
there are cards in my hand. I'm like, oh, I have this comic. And I get so excited again that get that. We talk about visceral response to gaming. But again, thinking about a comic that you read in the 80s, it brings you back to that time. You remember where you lived. You're brought back to that time. If you're a comic collector, if you like that stuff, or just a comic fan. So the artwork is beautiful. And, it isn't like, again, it's not the most expensive game. So the cards, the card stock isn't perfect. The card, you have to be gentle. I sleeve the whole game, but it's such a beautiful game. And the experience is so good. Jamey, you will love it. I promise. I hope you played as much as you play Night of the Ninja, or I'll move on from that. So he's never going to let that go, is he? I will play Comic Hunters just to spite you and shut you up, Mitchell. No, but I really think you'll enjoy it. The second one is a Kickstarter that just arrived at my home. And I wanted to make sure that I got it to the table because, again, it's easy to say, oh, well, I have other Kickstarters, but I was like, no, I think my group will like this. And this was The Witcher Path of Destiny.
I think you had mentioned this, being excited about this one coming. We talked about anticipation.
Yep.
Yeah.
We talked about this 2 weeks ago.
Yeah. How did it pay off?
It really paid off.
Oh,
it was really, really good. This is more of a tableau builder set in the Witcher universe. And it has the feel, and I think one of the listeners actually corrected me because I was talking about cooperative games, and I put this under that umbrella of cooperative because I said it had a cooperative feel to it, but the person who commented was absolutely right. It is a competitive game, absolutely. But I think it gives the feels of a cooperative game because you're going on an adventure together that plays out through these cards that tell you what's happening as you go along.
Yeah.
Game cards change, priorities change, and depending whatever mission you're doing, they're like individual missions, and it's mostly like card play and tableau building. But the rules slightly change depending on what mission you're playing. It'll introduce a new rule to you. So it's hard for, the game is not, it's hard for it to get stuck because they're always introducing slight variations to gameplay. So it opens you up also, which is another cool thing, to not getting so set in, okay, this is the only way to play this game, even though we all know that there are always multiple ways to approach, hopefully, multiple ways to approach a game puzzle, right? This one mixes up the rules a little bit to make sure. And it's from, I think it's Onboard. It's from Onboard, who did the other Witcher game.
Yeah.
And the tableau building was really well done. And the story was really well told. The writing was great. The art was great. It was really, I didn't get upset, but there was one rule that I didn't understand really well. And Jack and I were trying to figure it out. And then we realized, oh, we made a mistake the way we interpreted it. I was like, well, if I would have known that, I could have had 2 more victory points. And I rarely get like that. But I was like, and Jack's like, I know. I was like, oh, well, it's not a big deal. I didn't really get upset. I was just disappointed because I was so into it. And I was so like, I was like, oh, I think I'm really absorbing this game so well.
Yeah.
We had a great time playing it. Once you know the rules, it's a little crunchier than something like Comic Hunters or Seven
Mhm.
Wonders. And I think possibly because the rules are sort of in flux depending on which um, playing on which chapter you're playing. But the storytelling, the tableau building, it all went together beautifully, and I had such a fun time, and the guys had such a fun time. And it's one of those games where I'm glad that I didn't just get the base game, that I got some
Mhm.
extra stuff, because the extra stuff, most of it was mission based. And to have
Okay.
that variety, and you can replay any of these missions because they'll play out differently depending on what you have, what cards you have access to.
Right.
So, it's one of those things where you can play the same mission over and over and have a slightly different experience every time that you play. Do you have any experience with any of the Witcher games or the Witcher? I think you know about the Witcher verse.
Old. Yes. Yeah. I've watched the show. I
Yeah.
played. I think The Witcher Old World.
Old. Yes.
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 That's the one that I played, and that had a really neat mechanism where the cards kind of link. One card will link to the next card
Yes.
if you can
Yes.
link those. And I love tableau building. Was there a standout element of the tableau building that you particularly enjoyed?
I have to think because now, unfortunately, like the two games are
Yeah.
bleeding into each other. Um,
Like when I
no,
think of tableau building,
yeah,
I
yeah.
think of comes into play abilities or ongoing abilities or things that give you points at the end of the round or end of the game. Think like some combination of those
Yes,
things. Anything
yes.
like that?
Okay,
Yeah.
yes, there was. Now that you mentioned that, thank you. So you have this track, this experience track, and
Mhm.
there are two ways to earn points. There's a victory point track and there's an experience track. And
Okay.
at the end, your experience track can also get you some victory points depending how far you get on it. Once you get to the end and start to go back to the beginning again, that's when you start earning. It's very clever the way they do it. It stays as experience, and those experience points will earn you abilities along the way that can only be used once per game. The nice part is, by the time you've used one of those abilities that you earned, you can only use them once. The card's dead. You have to move on. You've now, with other experience, opened up other abilities that you have. I think there are four of them. So in the
Okay.
last round, I had two abilities to use, and I was searching desperately for a way to use them both. But because of the way the cards that were out there in the river were laid out, I couldn't use them to their best advantage. So I almost thought that it behooved me to not use them because I had a better way of maximizing points by not, having to use. Because again, when you have a special
Right.
ability, naturally you want to use it. It's like, oh, I have this thing, and they're all different. Every player in the game, and they're all characters from the Witcher universe. Every character has a different one, including there's a Geralt character and then a Geralt with his horse.
Oh,
And
okay.
with the horse one, it's all horse ability. So it's really interesting. It's really kind of cool. There's stomping, there's galloping. I'm like, oh, that sounds great. Sounds a little crazy.
Uh-huh.
Roach has gone nuts. Roach is his horse. If you don't know, people listening, Geralt's, yeah, his horse is Roach. Um, so yeah, I think the way that they did the experience system mixed in with the ability points was really clever, and it kept you guessing and sort of thinking about when and where to use them. Because again,
Okay.
once they're used, they're gone, but you have, if you're getting experience, which you should be along the way, you have openings coming up. So I kept on going back to my reference, and it's nice dual layer board production is off the charts. I think
Yeah.
onboard games in general, it is onboard games, isn't it? I think I'm thinking the
I
right
think so.
thing.
I'll look it up while you're
Thank you.
talking. Yeah.
Um, but yeah, so that part of the tableau building was really, really clever, really well done, and again, really beautiful. And by the way, in the one Witcher Old World that you had played, I thought one of
Uh-huh.
the things that you would like is they have the game in there that the pub game that they play, which is like a poker game with dice. So I
Yeah.
figured, not liking poker, being a former poker player, I don't know if you
Yeah.
still play as much, but I was like, oh, Jamey might like the poker dice game and you could just go into a pub and play that game, just sit there while everyone else laps you in the game. Like, I'm still playing dice in the pub, leave me alone. I'm having a pint and playing these dice. So,
I
but was it?
love that. I love games within games like that in
Oh, I did
general.
too.
So that's really cool. Yeah. I did look it up and you were almost correct. It's Go On Board.
Go on board. Go on
Go On
board.
Board. Yeah.
But yeah, they've always made games that are just beautiful to look at, and it's nice to know the game is also beautiful to play. Again, another
Yeah.
one I think you would like, and I don't think you have to be a Witcher fan. I think you get a little more out of it because you know the characters,
Right.
but I don't think you have to be a fan necessarily to enjoy the game. It's just a well-made game, and it's easy to just sometimes rely on a license and but this is a great game even without the license. It's a wonderful game. I think you'll enjoy it.
I'm excited to try it. That one probably has a higher price point than the other two that I might jump on a little faster, but I
Yeah.
am very curious about it after hearing you talk about it. Yeah.
Yeah, you realize, and then you start to realize at the end of the day, the experience that you could, I think, Path of Destiny, the way I got it was over
Yeah.
$100, 130, 140. And Comic Hunters was $13, $14. And
Yeah.
you realize it has nothing to do with that. Yes, I do like, as we've talked about in the past, I like the pretty. I like the deluxeified stuff. That's all great. At the end of the day, you can't dress up a game that doesn't, resonate with you enough to make it worth playing if it doesn't resonate with you.
Yeah.
And a game like Comic Hunters for a tenth of the price had just as great an experience. So, folks, you do not have to spend your hard-earned shekels to have a great experience at the table. But yeah, I'm very proud of you, Jamey. Wow, 15 new games, and you taught 10 more.
Yeah. It was intense.
Did you
Yeah.
eat?
I kind of yeah. I kind of ate on the fly. I had a granola bar in my pocket, and I pulled that out and ate it real quick, and just kept on going. Yeah.
We do the same thing at conventions. We like stuff our pockets with protein bars, like bottled water. If you're like a dealer on the corner, I got you granola, crunchy granola, yeah. Quaker Chewy over here. You want some Aquafina? I got some Aquafina. I'm like a giant raincoat, But you do what you need to do, and at conventions, you realize. And I love the fact that Geekway is, and the way Jamey described it, like 3,000 people coming together to play games. You might think that's what every convention is like. It's not. A lot of conventions, a lot of the companies that come are there, and this is not a slam at all. This is why it happens, to show off new games, to promote their newest, their latest and greatest, give you an opportunity to buy stuff, to put out storefronts where you can buy, and that's wonderful. But to have a convention that's really just all about playing and getting together with new people and having new experiences, and you embrace that both in the games that you taught and the games that you were taught. So I think you really seized the moment there, Jamey.
It's a really special convention. I'm very fortunate that it's in our backyard. And you're right. There are other different types of conventions, like the expos, the vendor halls. And there's also the type of convention where you sign up for a lot of events. Like, it's very, very structured. There's a place for that too. But I really like a Geekway that it's just casual gaming. You can walk around and find games, and it's really cool.
Yeah. I've got to come down. I know you've told me to come down, but I really need to do that. And I'll show up on your doorstep, and the first reaction will be, "How did you find out where I live? How did you get my address? I didn't give you my address."
And I'm 30 minutes away from the convention center. I'm nowhere nearby. Yeah, you'll be in the wrong place if you come here.
Okay, you know what though? This is good. I can start reverse engineering your address by finding Geekway. Let's say, God. But you're most of all, more than anything, getting back to the real, and I think we're probably at our time. We're at our time point here. On a human level, I'm very glad that things have stabilized. To have that stasis in your life is, we take that for granted. But when things are off, whether it's from work or just lifestyle, when things are off, you feel it. You feel it in everything you do. It's not just work. It affects your mental and emotional well-being. It affects everything. So I'm glad that we're past that, as I knock on wood.
Yeah.
And that you're okay. And selfishly, that we can do this again, which I missed, even though it was for 1 week. And again, if you are listening to us in podcast form, I think we're going to be synchronized with Jamey's YouTube channel, with the Stonemaier Games YouTube channel, in terms of our releases every week. So we apologize that we missed you. But if you missed us, you missed us. That means you were looking forward to hearing us. That's awesome. But we're sorry. We'll try and record, we'll try and record as many as we can to have those days where we can have a little flex episode now and then. But Jamey, thank you again. And I look forward to, this was episode, did I even mention this was episode 11?
Episode 11. Yeah. And I'm looking forward to hearing in the comments what people have to say about their favorite, maybe a recent teaching experience that they either as the teacher or the taught, either way they want to talk about it. And maybe a new game that they got to the table recently, or new to them game. Like you mentioned, the 3 new games.
Absolutely.
I'm excited to hear what people say about that in the comments.
This could be my weekly thing. Forget about having a subject. I'll just talk about all the new to me games that I play every single week and just bore you to death.
No, that won't be boring at all. I would. That's a great backup topic to always have.
It really is, because I think it resonates. Anyway, thank you all for listening. We look forward to having you back both here on Jamey's YouTube channel and the Positively Board Gaming website, or wherever you listen to your podcast. Thank you again, and we will definitely see you next week.
Yes. Take care.